Hello, you metal pilgrims, and welcome to yet another episode of our interview series. Our today's guest is going to be Richard Sjunnesson, the frontman of the Swedish metal band The Unguided. We will be talking about the band's upcoming release, Father's Shadow, which is out tomorrow, October 9th, via Napalm Records, the process behind it, how was it like to leave Sonic Syndicate, and much, much more. But as always, before we start, I'd like to take a moment and invite you to become part of the conversation and join the Metal Pilgrim community on YouTube, Instagram, or any other social media you hang out at, to submit your questions for the future guests and not miss out on exclusive interviews, album and concert reviews, and for more first-hand rock and metal news. Here you go.
Hi there.
Hey, how's it going, man?
That's good.
Richard, second take. Thanks a lot for joining me, man. Are you in Sweden at the moment? How is the situation with the COVID and all that kind of stuff?
No, I mean, Sweden have been YOLOing us through this pandemic in a way. I think that for some reason we choose another strategy than the rest of the world. There's been no like strong lockdowns or, of course, there's like restrictions, but only minor. I guess the whole entertainment business have been had a hit because we're limited to like 50 people in a room or in a hall or whatever. So that limits, and I also think like it's if you pull up a guitar and start to sing, it's even more forbidden or outlawed for some reason. So it doesn't make any difference at all. But that's just how they restricted it. But other than that, it's been really business as usual for some reason. So I'll see. Well, I mean, there will come a day of reckoning when all of this is said and done. I think it's a bit early to choose or to judge who did wrong and who did right, but clearly we have been having a bit of different approach than the rest of the world. So for us, it haven't been that much impact actually.
This is crazy. You see a whole range of spectrum, kind of, if you wish, of different restrictions. Some people just shut down the entire countries, and then the other countries just like whatever, just don't go to clubs. And Italy just opened clubs actually.
So I think our government trust in our. Like Swedes are introverts, and they've been practicing social distancing since birth, and I think the government just trusts us in doing what we do best, being Swedes. Like we never visit our families, we never or see that much friends, or we don't say hello to each other on the streets. It sounds like just continue to be Swedes and we'll be fine.
Oh, this is fun, man. I imagine the flyers or just a government announcement. Just be yourself, guys. That's it. Relax.
Exactly. Don't try to be that goddamn American. Say hello to everyone. No, it's different, but for I mean the rest of our Scandinavian neighbors have been a lot harder lockdowns or have been having stronger restrictions, and the Swedes have been treated like plague bearers because we had a bit of more open mentality to it. But now like the numbers are coming in pretty good for us. Like we had our peak in July, and now it's pretty stable. It's maybe going a bit up now, like after summer when people are back on their work and schools are starting up a bit again, but it's nothing extraordinary. So.
Okay, that's good to hear, and just let's pray that all of this will disappear at some time soon, and you and the rest of the bands are going to be able to hit the road again.
Hell yeah! It's gonna be tight on the roads though. Everyone is gonna hit the road when
it's gonna be like a traffic jam for metal bands.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, fun times.
Did you say you called from Kiev?
Yeah, I'm in Kiev. Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
Yeah.
We played there with Sonic a very long time ago.
Oh yeah, when was that?
I think it was 2000. 9 or 10. No, 10. It must have been 10. Yeah, because it was right before I left. It was the same summer I left Sonic, actually. So it was actually the day I broke for the band that I was leaving.
Wow.
So that happened in Kiev.
A lot of such stuff happens in Kiev, actually, believe it or not. I hear stories of crazy ass stuff going on in Kiev. But speaking about hitting the road, you guys, I mean, I'm sure you wish you would be able to do that, because the Unguided are about to release their 5th studio album, Father Shadow, on October 9th via Napalm Records. Congrats on finishing this one up, especially during the pandemics. I know it can be tough. But could you talk a bit about, share just what the creative process behind it was like, and how did you guys bring all of this together into this one piece?
Yeah. The lion's share of the album was recorded or was written around the end of 2019. But I mean, we said like we're gonna take the entire year to just write, and we don't book on that many shows, so we can focus on the writing. And then we always sit there last minute and like, oh yeah, we're supposed to write an album. But for us, it's like we work really well under pressure, and for us, that pressure is when we book the studio, basically. And the studio was booked for January, so obviously we wrote the album during December. And then we did bits and pieces, I think, throughout the year since like the last release, and the Battle Royale, which was released by the end of 2017. And we had one song from that process that we saved, which is Well Love Comes to Die, the ballad. So that one was probably the first track we wrote for this album, or had like the framework of it. And then we also had like Zeph and Gaia, which was released in March last year. As like that's just how we do it. Since we jump around a lot in studios and use a lot of different producers, we always go into the album with trying out the new concept, like the new producer, recording studio, to see if we're satisfied with the result. And with the combination we chose for Father Shadow, which was Robert Kukla in studio or recording Obsidian Recordings, that's what it's called. It's actually like a control room in the studio Fredman in Gothenburg, which is a legendary studio. So we had Robert, which is a very pleasant Canadian, recording everything. And then we
Every Canadian is a pleasant one. So I have to say. Every Canadian I at least know is a great guy.
yeah, exactly. It's just something with them, isn't it? It's like super nice and super friendly. I don't know. I'm not sure what they're hiding. But anyway, and then we had Buster Odeholm from Impact Studios, and he's been doing a lot of heavy shit in his past, and we just felt like we wanted a bit more grit to this production. So that combination, Robert and Buster doing the entire production, was a really good, or it felt really well when the EP came out, or when we got the mixes for that. So we just decided we're gonna roll with that for the entire album, basically.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, and how do you guys usually divide the writing responsibilities? I mean, who does what?
Well, it's been evolving a bit over the years. I think starting the Unguided, we had a bit of the same concept as we had in Sonic Syndicate, which was mostly my brother Roger doing the music, and then me and Roland did vocal arrangements, and I wrote all the lyrics, basically. And I think for Father Shadow, this like started a couple of albums ago, I would say, but now it's like more a complete team effort when it comes to the music writing, because it's both my brother Jonathan and Richard, the drummer, is writing the music, and on Father Shadow, they get like equal airtime when it comes to which songs they've contributed with the framework to.
Nice.
So it's basically they come up with like a basic song idea, and then we sit together and rearrange it a bit and produce it up a bit. And then when it comes to the vocals, so we try to start with the melodies, and everyone can contribute there as well. Like everyone send in ideas, and then we just evaluate the best ones basically, and have some like majority wins or democracy going on. And then I write all the lyrics to the entire thing. Like that's pretty similar to how it was in Sonic, actually. So it's pretty interesting with this album, because it kind of starts off with having it. The first song is like a Jonathan song, and then the second one is a Richard song, and the third one is a Roger song. So you get like the entire spectrum at the first or the initial of the album, and then it just goes from there basically.
It's pretty cool you said that, because musically speaking, I cannot really place this album into one genre, right? I mean, there's some melodic death metal here clearly, there's some metalcore here, and then some songs are even heavily on influenced by electronic sounds. So how did this mix come around? Is it because you have this teamwork and a bunch of different writers, and everyone brings in something of their own, like a melting pot, or you do that on purpose somehow?
I think what you're like, as you said there, they've come from a bit of different school, music writing wise, or their musical background. So I think Jonathan, he writes very heavy stuff, like the opening Childhood Sin is probably the heaviest track we ever released, basically. so he did that one. He comes from that, a bit more technical, I would say like death metal-ish stuff, but I mean, I don't consider us a death metal band, but he's originally from that school, so he writes a bit in that angle, I would say, very heavy stuff. And then Richard writes a bit more rocky stuff, rocky-ish, and Roger writes what he always did, like in both Sonic and the Unguided. It's more like melodeath stuff or melodic metal stuff. I'd say. So we have that range in the writers, and I think that comes across pretty good on the album. And I've been saying that in interviews, and then you get like a review, everything sounds the same. But it's to each and their own, I guess. But I think we've done our most dynamic album up to date with this, and if that sounds samey to someone, so be it. But we know it's we've taken the turn wide, like compared to what we've done in the past with this.
I was able to listen to the album, a bit earlier before the release, just a couple of days before. But I don't think that it sounds the same at all. I think it is very coherent. It just comes together in this little in this synergy in a way. But the tracks themselves, they are very distinguishable in a way, right? I mean, and as I said, there are different angles that are clearly marked in each of the track, and this is what kind of paints this overall picture. Right.
I'm glad you say that.
Yeah. But talking about your, input, basically in the album writing process, and basically the lyrics, right? What are some of the major themes you were trying to raise on this album?
For the Unguided, there's always like a conceptual undertone. So there is a concept and a story behind every album, and it ties together, like from the first one, the debut album Hellfrost, going through Fragile Immortality, onwards to Lost and Loading, and then the Battle Royale, and now finally like Father Shadow. And I had a story written for 3 albums when we started, and that's what I wanted to like, because I always try to plan ahead as much as possible. Nice. So like when we started 2010 or the idea, I had like artworks and everything, the story, everything was done already at that point. And it took like 6 years to actually execute on it. But it's still something I like to do a lot. So we had like the blue and the red and the green album initially, and now we had the cyan, the purple, and or the magenta and the yellow album. So we have this plan already for 3 new ones with Jonathan, and I really like to, because writing lyrics for Sonic was a bit restricted in that box. It was a lot of teenage angst, human down to earth stuff in a metaphoric way. And what I wanted to do in Unguided was to write a bit more fictional stuff, basically, because I like to do that as well. So I wrote that story, and then I based a lot of lyrics on that. It's like maybe 50% of the tracks for every album is like conceptual. And then I guess I break it down to write a bit more down to earth stuff with the rest of the content for the album or the standalone tracks, which is more like day-to-day life things, and that's more similar to the Sonic way of writing for me, I would say. But I like writing lyrics, I like writing stories and storytelling, so I get to do both in this band, and that feels really good for me.
This is amazing. This sounds great. I'm a huge fantasy fan myself, right? And talking about the theme and just willingness to write about this fantasy world in a way, right? I mean, fantasy in a different way, right? I'd say, but it ties together with the cover artwork for this album, right? It features a very classical fantasy themed scene, right, with everything that is depicted there. But whose idea was it, and how was it executed? I mean, who was the author and the?
I feel I'm guilty there, because I always try to because we work with this great Chinese artist called Kwang Hong, and he's been doing all our artworks since the debut Hellfrost. And we always toss ideas on each other, and it's like key event on every album cover. There's like a key event in the story, basically. And for the 3 first albums, it was kind of telling the whole story from me and my brother starting this demo band called Fallen Angels, and then how that got popular, and it turned into Sonic Syndicate, which became more of a super money-making machine, and then getting, when your hobby and your fire and your passion for creativity becomes a day job, and it's more like something that's forced, and it's like more of a pizza delivery service than a creative process. That's when it started dying for me, passion-wise, and then I think I felt I needed like that outlet in my life in another band, and that was how the Unguided started. So that entire transition is documented in the story, but written in a more fantasy outfit and very metaphoric, and all the characters are bound or loosely based on characters that was around in this. It's like the whole music industry is portrayed as or machines, or the non-organic factor, and then there's like a fight against the whole organic factor in life. So it's like the organic versus the mechanic in a lot of ways. So it's like the music business and the passion, and from at the Battle Royale, I detached it from that entire story, like the how it was, because I felt it was a bit of a limit writing in that way of basing it on something or like real events. So I just reused the characters, but built like a story around it, which was more about dramaturgy, about the human factor in those characters, or a bit more broken down to the whole feeling kind of side of it, instead of huge events going on in this fantasy world, you know.
Yeah.
And I think that was happened on previous album, and now continue on this this new one. And that was speaking like of Father's Shadow. What happened towards the end of the last album was that the main character that we have been using on like the 4 first album covers, he died. He was like a king or a ruler in this world, and he had a son, and he's taking over the kingdom, or taking the throne, and that comes with a raft of problems with him having the burden of kingship when he's really young, and having this behemoth of father that is saving the world over and over again, and trying to walk in his footsteps away. So that's a lot what Father Shadow is about, and that's also what's illustrated on the artwork, where he's looking into a mirror and he sees his father, basically.
Oh, okay.
So
now it makes sense.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. I mean, I love the idea of this concept and how it is reflected, you know, in the album cover artwork, because I'm a fan of when the artwork actually reflects of what is going on, the story, you know, in the album. And speaking about the songs, you know, some of the tracks, you've recorded one song, Gaia, and it featured Eric Engstrand, right? Yeah. Could you talk a bit about how this collaboration kind of come about, and how was it working with Eric?
Yeah, Eric is a good friend to the band. We've been doing a lot of tours with Eyes Wide Open. We love being out on the roads with them. They're super helpful and fun and good guys, and they're good at drinking beer as well, which we appreciate. And I think we just were in the same cycle, album recording wise. So they asked me if I could contribute to one of their songs, to do some guest vocals on their songs. And then we were like, what the hell, we have this coming, or we're recording this right now as well, so we should do like a switch, like we record something for you and you do this for us. And Gaia was already released back in 2019, so and it's gonna be like a bonus track on Father Shadow, which is coming out in 2 days. And then it just felt good to do a bit of variation to that as well. Like it gets a completely new mix, it gets new recordings, and gets some guest vocals. So it's something new for the fans that have heard the song already.
That's pretty
and
cool.
He did a really good job with it.
Yeah, he did, absolutely. And speaking about bonus tracks, you've also recorded 3 other ones, you know, basically covering yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Covering the
That's weird, isn't it?
It is. You are a cover band on yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
But the 3 songs, Jailbreak, Denied, and Jack of Diamonds, right? How was it? Was it weird?
It was a bit weird. It was fun to, especially like the really old song, like Jailbreak. It's 15 years ago we released that one, and to do that like in a more modern outfit was very pleasant. And it's, you know, you go through the lyrics and you're like, damn, what was going on at this time?
I was messed up back then.
Yeah. But it's, because this was a pretty stressful recording back in the days there, 2005, doing Eden Fire. So to do it again a bit, having a bit more time and playing around with harmonies and just taking our time with it, doing it as more skilled musicians in the band, and also as more experienced, both singing wise or structure harmonies in it and everything. It was actually a cool thing to do that to those tracks. The only thing I can feel is that, you know, with the old sound, which of course have become nostalgic to people. Like, even doesn't matter how bad the productions are or how the production, it means a lot to the people how they sound from back in the days, and I think when you listen to these tracks, you have to listen to them a couple of times to be able to detach yourself from that nostalgia and just appreciate the new updated sound or our versions of them, because they're not going to be like complete the same, and it's going to be in a modern 2020 metal version, you know.
They do sound completely different. I'll be honest with you. So that's pretty cool. That you have to appreciate it for what it is today, rather than being a reminiscence of the old days. Makes sense, absolutely, man. Do you have a personal favorite track from the new album?
I think my favorite is actually Lands of Longinus. And for a lot of reasons, and it's such like because story-wise, it's like the ending of the entire story. It's like a pretty powerful key event in the story that is related to that song lyric-wise, and also how it came together, and that middle eight part where Jonathan does his vocal solo is just like super. It's both like powerful and emotional for me, and that's, I guess, because I see how it's driving also the story, like the pictures from the story forward, and with his vocals, it's doing it complete. Perfect view from what I had in mind with the story. So that one I because I've been asking myself that a lot as well, like which songs, when you get a bit more objective. We had the mix already in March, and then we've been grinding it a lot ourselves, of course. Then you get a bit bored of it, you get some distance, and then you go back, and that's when you can feel a bit, objective about it. And I always come back to that track, Lands of Longinus. So for me, that one is definitely a cool song, and also the singles are really well selected, with Crown Prince Syndrome and Never Yield is both like probably the best choruses on the album. So they came together really well. I like how Crown Prince Syndrome is a bit more industrial and heavy than what we've done in the past. So it plays around a bit differently with the electronics. And also the structure of the song is a bit different, with only having the two choruses and having that, there's like an intro, verse, pre-chorus, and then it resets to a verse again instead of giving a chorus away. And I think that's pretty effective, because once it hits, it's really big and powerful with that melody.
This is nice. Yeah, this is 80s style Judas Priest kind of,
exactly.
Structure. Yeah, love it. Huge Judas Priest fan, by the way. I'm conscious of your time, man. So just a couple of more questions, if you don't mind, and then we can go drink the beer.
Yeah, for sure.
But any plans on actually hitting the road in support of this album in 2021? Anything confirmed at this point?
Nothing confirmed, but there's talks, and I think the most optimistic we can be is fall 2021. That we're talking about. I still think it might be a bit early, spring 2021, because we don't know. I see like how Sweden is pushing restrictions forward. I guess that's just like a strategy instead of elonging them all the time, they just like set a very long date. I think it's like June 2021 they have restrictions going on too. And maybe that's just because they set them far away so they can just break them once everything is resetting a bit or coming back to it. But it's, as said, it's going to be really tight on the roads, and a lot of bands is going to tour, so we have to plan ahead a lot there. And also like the whole economy, how much can fans go to shows, and I guess they were going to be very selective. A lot of people have lost their jobs, and might be for myself. I feel like there's a catch-up effect. I want to go out and see as much live shows as I can.
That
but
is true.
maybe I can, yeah, but I can tell if everyone is feeling like that. Maybe some people are still scared about the whole thing, and you get a bit wary on getting in
The
smaller
crowd,
locations where a lot of people. So we'll see.
That is
See
true.
what happens.
We'll see overall how it will impact the overall industry, right? Because I'm afraid that the effects of this pandemic are going to be felt still for years to come, to be honest with you, just in the heads of people at least.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that is true. Armin, but just the last one before we close. Any particular influences that inspired you while you were writing this album? Maybe particular bands?
Oh, that's a good question. I think we all started to listen to Beast in Black around the same time.
Nice.
It's like, because we have pretty different music taste in the band, which I think is to our strength when we write music together. Because it's like, it's four rocks clashing to each other, and that spark becomes Unguided in a way. That compromise or that dynamic. Because I think it's really resourceful to come from different backgrounds and have different views. And then you try to understand each other in a songwriting process, and then you became like the essence of everyone's work in a way. But one consensus band that we all started to listen to was actually Beast in Black. So I think that might come across a bit on this album. We can't compare their music to ours in a lot of ways, but there might be some features here and there that might have been picked up from that. Other than that, I wouldn't say it's as you listen to music. I consume a lot of music. I listen to like one metal album every day, just to try to be up to speed on the whole business and trends. Yeah, exactly. So you pick up inspiration here and there, and then when you start to write, I guess you pick that up from somewhere, and you just pour it into your own pot in a way. So no other distinct bands that I can think of there.
All right, pretty cool, man. Thanks for sharing this. The last one, promise. This is a regular on the show. This is something we're doing every time, and would love to hear what you have to say. If you could share one crazy ass story from your touring days, from back when you could actually go on a road, or just one memory that you cherish, one maybe show or one crowd that you was special to you throughout the years.
What struck, there's been a lot of weird stuff going on tour.
I can imagine.
Tell you that. But it's always when someone or asks the question, you're like, I don't remember that much. But I know once that was a bit of life-defining for me, and that was Download 2010, and I was standing on stage watching 30 Seconds to March, and it just felt how like Jared was such a fucking rock star, film star, like the entire package, just rocking it out on that scene. And I was watching it just like with my jaw dropped down how fucking incredible good it was. And next to me was Tony Iommi, and then Manson was there as well. And like we were all standing there, and I looked, what is going on here? And I am not worthy. So I have a couple of pictures there, like selfies, like, and they were all so nice to me. I never really get like starstruck. I've been starstruck once in my life, and that was when I met Hansi Kürsch in. Tuska festival, but it's you listen to their kind of music growing up with Black Sabbath and stuff as that, and then you just see this amazing show and you turn left, and next to you stands the big man.
Yeah.
It was pretty incredible.
This is amazing, man. Yeah, I can imagine. Well, thanks for sharing this. And I would love to see those selfies.
Yeah, I'll send them your way.
Please do. That'd be
I
fun.
find it.
I'll include them.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, man. Richard, thanks a lot for your time. Appreciate it. Any last message for the fans? Anything you want to share with them?
Yeah, I just checked the new album Father Shadow out in 2 days. We're super excited, super proud, and I think there's going to be a bit of everything for everyone, because for us it's pretty dynamic, and I'm sure you will appreciate some of those songs. If you've been fans to our old work or just a big fan of metal in general, it's going to be good. So check it out.
Perfect. Yeah, don't miss out on this one. Richard, thanks a lot, man. Have a great night and keep rocking. Good luck on the release day, man.
Thank
See
you.
man.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Take it easy.